the whole idea of working for someone else is that you're making more value than they're paying you, and that surplus value goes to the owners.
Yeah.
So you want to capture that surplus value that you're creating, you have to be an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So John, tell us how you decide to become an entrepreneur.
Well, Harry, it was quite a journey. So my journey has basically been started out as an engineer, and then became an entrepreneur, and then became an investor. Because that's sort of an arc, and when I was an engineer, I was an electrical engineer. I started out in rock and roll recording studios, and because I loved music, and
I love rock
built
and
up
roll.
yeah, it was really super fun, and built up technical knowledge there. Then I went to work for an equipment manufacturer that made the audio and video machines that recorded all the music, and from there I went to television. I worked for ABC television out of New York, back when there were three networks in the United States, and there wasn't streaming, and so it was and in the 1980s when network television was still very powerful. And then from there decided, I was an engineer. I was developing and building facilities for the network, and doing all kinds of big broadcasts like World Series and NFL football, and news and sports were our basic, the live television were our clients within the company, and space shuttle launches and political conventions and Olympics. I did the Olympics in Sarajevo in 1984. I was part of that team. And as I was building, what we were doing all the time was pushing the state of the art. Production people would say, we want a slow motion camera. We want a microphone that could do this. Or we want, writing on the bottom of the screen with the names. And so I would work with companies to develop these tools, and then we deploy them. And then those companies would go and sell hundreds of them and make tons of money. In fact, that was, my ideas, basically. I would translate these ideas of what the need was, talk to these companies, they would make it. And I thought, I want to be on that side of the business where I'm actually, not only creating that value, but capturing that value. I didn't want to create the value and let somebody else capture it. And that's what happens when you work for a company. The whole idea of working for someone else is that you're making more value than they're paying you, and that surplus value goes to the owners. So you want to capture that surplus value that you're creating, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to work for yourself.
John, you have to be very comfortable, because as an engineer, I'm sure that this company pay you a lot of very good money, and they keep you very happy to stay in this company. So why would you all go out of your comfort zone, out of your comfortability? Like, okay, I go here, I invent something, I create something, but you know what? I'm coming to work at 8 and finish at 5. I don't have to worry about anything. I can enjoy my life. Why you decided to go from comfortable to uncomfortable? I think that you just described it. Yeah, it was worth it. Was it really worth it?
Well, now those are great questions, Harry. And exactly, it's like golden handcuffs, they call it. You got these golden handcuffs.
They give you
I'm making a lot of money. They're taking care of me. I have a per diem. Like I say, I don't have to worry at the end of the day. I go, and so there was a lot that I gave up for that, and that's true. Basically, what I decided to do was I realized I didn't know anything about business. I knew about engineering, but I didn't know about. I picked up an ABC annual report, and I realized I don't understand this balance sheet, income statement.
Oh my God, yeah.
Strategy. So I thought, and I always wanted to go to business school. So I decided I'll go to business school. And so that was
that was good. That was a good idea.
Yeah, that was good, and that was my transition. I just didn't. I went from working there to I went and got my MBA at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Wharton.
That was a
that's
good
where
idea.
Finance. A lot of numbers people go. They call them quant jocks, right? Because they from engineering, I knew all the numbers. So finance was something that I kind of could understand the numbers of. So went there and got my MBA and thought I'd go back to New York and, work for, one of the big companies there, or, try to do my own things. But then I
go ahead. Yeah.
fell in love with New Mexico and wanted to move out here. And that was kind of another big leap, because it's not a lot of business opportunities out here. I had to make up my own business opportunities, So I love the lifestyle. I love the, I mean, if you look, I'm living where
It's
it just
fantastic. Yeah. It's
incredible area,
unbelievable.
and it's beautiful. But now that they have the internet, I can talk to you, wherever you are, and we can talk to everybody all over the world through these things. So I feel much more connected, but those are big leaps. And then I started a bunch of companies. I started to try to, and that was tough. I'll tell you, when I went to business school, 2 years not working, I had a young family to support, so I had those expenses, and it was like $100,000 in tuition. More than that. It was like 70,000 a year, so about $140,000. So I ended up in those 2 years digging myself like a $400,000 hole. And so then I started wondering, is that worth it?
Huge
Was that really
commitment.
worth it? It's a big commitment. And so that's what I do now is after all my making companies, I took 2 public. I ran the public companies for 15 years as CFO and CEO. And then I decided I have a company now called MBA ASAP, and ASAP is as soon as possible. So it's a business administration.
I love the name MBA as soon as possible. Yeah.
ASAP. So just the things that you
And as cheap
really
as
need to
possible
know.
and as affordable as possible as well. Because John, I see these people, yeah, in London, right? That they want to spend thousands and thousands of pounds in an MBA, and I'm looking at them and say, look, I used to my main business was in property. We managed to save 5 million, but I had one business once. There was a restaurant in a very competitive area in Brick Lane in London. I lost 200,000 pounds in that thing. So I always said to the people, if you really want to do proper MBA, come open a restaurant. You will see in a competitive place, and it's gonna be more effective, because in the end of the day, John, entrepreneurship is about it's a skill. The more you practice, the better you become, right? But also knowledge is important. And I think, John, that in those business schools, including this one that you pay, how much you pay? Like $100,000. I'm sure that most of your teachers, they were no entrepreneurs. Yeah. So I don't get me wrong. I applaud you to go there, because as engineer, I'm also chemical engineer. I'm an engineer. Yeah. And I've been thinking, yeah, because I study chemical engineering because my parents want me to be an engineer and to find a job and to be exactly the same corporate. So I become an engineer to keep my parents happy, yeah. So, but the whole thing is that once I think that the other thing that we get out of engineering that is applying for business is that every day that we go to the university, we listen in the word problem. There are physical problems, there are mathematical problems, there are chemistry, but we spend 5 years, yeah, um, um, solving problems that they are hypothetical, yeah. So somehow our brain develops certain capacity to solve problems. We know that problems have different solutions. We are not scared of problems, and I think that this helped me a lot in my career as an entrepreneur. Yeah. So when this is something, John, that you have when you decide to become an entrepreneur, that most of the people don't have. That at least you were not scared of the word problem. Yeah. And you got a lot of, like I said, knowledge that you learn in this MBA. Obviously is priceless, right? But we need more entrepreneurs teaching MBAs, right? What do you think about this?
Harry, I absolutely agree with you. My And I think with engineering, it's a great beginning thing to do because one, it's a career you can always fall back on. And like you say, you're solving problems and it teaches you systems thinking and process thinking. And that
Very
is
helpful.
really good for an entrepreneur. If you have something you have to do, you know how to reverse engineer it and then make steps to get from here to there. And so that kind of training is really, really good, I think. But you're right. When I went to my MBA, it was a lot of theoretical knowledge. They were all PhDs and they had all just gone to school and read books about it, you know. And so that's when, you know, I started teaching in some universities after a
Oh,
while.
wow, that's very good.
Yeah,
Well done
and I
for the
realized, you know, that the
university.
textbooks are like this thick, 800 pages. And I said, I can, you know, I've been a public company CFO for, you know, 15 years now, you know, and CEO, I can boil that down to 10 pages of this is what you really need to know. Go out and start doing it. Like you say, it's a practice. And the only way you really learn it is by practicing, making a mistake, or, you know, it's not even a mistake. It's not the right way to do it. Acknowledging that very quickly and then pivoting to something else, trying something else until you figure out, this is the way it works.
It's
And
like
it
driving. It's
takes
like
time.
driving or swimming. Is the more you practice, the better you become.
Right. You can read 100 books on driving and not really know how to drive until you get behind the wheel. And all of a sudden, you know, there's you know, something in the road and you got to turn. And so you start to learn how to do that. And yeah, and then the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship too is that once you do it, then you can do it again and again because you start to learn that it's a skill and it's a process. And once you figure out your way, then you can apply it to lots of different situations. And I felt like after a while, I just didn't want to work for a boss anymore. I didn't like being constrained by people telling me what to do. I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.